one of the first fellows elected in Spain, elected in 2006, for his incredibly innovative work addressing the financial and social needs of Spain's immigrant communities. He's established this awesome model of self-managed, immigrant-led small investment groups, and is now working on Wincomen. Am I right in saying that? Okay. Wincomen, which is a digital learning and financial platform to sort of help teach and facilitate the use of these small investment groups. And I'll let Jean-Claude explain the rest. But I also want to say that we're welcoming guests from FIFA DC. Are we? Are they here yet? Raise your hand if you're here from FIFA DC. No? Okay, not yet, but we will be. Okay, well, look out for them because they're here. It's Financial Inclusion Forum of DC. Great, and Jean-Claude, take it away.
Thank you for coming. I'm coming from Barcelona. Our methodology in 2006. We started in 2004 to implement the methodology in Spain. Now it's in more or less 50 countries. And it jumped from migrant communities to different communities. So what I suggest is that we play a game. Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You don't have to vote. And we're going to play the game as we always play with communities, and how the methodology and the model starts in a community. So this is a kind of community. Do you know each other in general here? Some? All of you're working here?
There's a lot of new people who just joined.
Does anyone here need 300 euros? Dollars? Or dollars? But can you return it?
Eventually.
Do you normally need money?
Yes.
Like 400, 500, 600? Yes? What do you know? What do you do when you need this money? Who do you ask this money to? Or you just never ask for money? Has anyone here asked for money to friends, family? Yes? Is it normal here? Okay. What we do is things that are happening like this, that people are asking for money to their families and friends, we create a methodology, we structure it. Okay. So let's create a community here. It's called self-funded communities. And let's start. We can create one. Probably, maybe some of you are going to really create it here in Ashoka. Probably that's going to happen. If you understand the methodology, you can start tomorrow, today. Okay. So let's start. How much money do you need?
Let's go with
$200.
How much?
$200.
200. What's your name?
Natalie.
Natalie. This?
Yeah.
One less? 200.
I like that.
You can return this money in how many months?
I'm not getting paid right now, so probably in fall when I have a job.
Okay.
In September.
September you can return it?
Yeah.
Let's imagine that you're going to return. We're in June now.
Too slow.
Let's say that you're going to return this money in 4 months. 50, 50, 50, and 50. Okay? This is the simplest way that we're going to start. And then you can, the rules can be changed. The community agrees in that. Can you pay an interest rate? Let's say 1% per month?
Sure.
Like 2 euros per month? Is that very hard for you?
That's okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
It's a coffee now. Okay. And anyone else who needs a credit?
I'll fund it.
Theo, how much?
Let's go for 500.
It's too much to start with.
300.
300. And let's say you pay that in 3 months. with 3 euros, 1% of this, the capital. And we're in June right now. So in July, August, September. One last credit. Your name?
Liz.
Liz. How much money do you need?
Just 150.
Okay. When we grow up, we can put a 0 more here. But let's go step by step. In 3 months.
3
Can
months?
you pay it in 3 months?
Sure.
Okay, now, does anyone know Natalie? Natalie? Do you know Natalie? Do you think it's someone you can trust?
Yeah.
Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Sure? Someone else? Someone else knows?
Sure.
You can trust her or not? You see her every day? No.
Almost now.
Okay, that's a good thing. Theo, does anyone know Theo here? Yes? Can you trust Theo? No. What do you think?
Yeah.
He's going to stay in Ashoka how long? More or less, do you know?
Till August.
Till August. And then?
And then Boston. I'm sure.
You're in Boston. Sorry, Theo, for that. Okay? 150, 150.
Okay.
Okay, but she's a trustful. Do you have any earnings?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
You can pay Liz. No problem. Okay, Liz. Does anyone know Liz here?
Yes.
But you're the same with us. You know Liz? She's a trustful person? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the thing is, this is an investment fund. We're going to invest in people like Ashoka, no? We're going to invest in people, but with returning the money, not like Ashoka. So, do you think this is a good investment? To put money in a fund that we can give credit to Natalie, Theo, and Liz? This will give you 12% rendability. 1% per month, that's 12% rendability. So if you invest in this fund 100 euros, you will get you will get 112 at the end of the year. Is it a good investment? How much money do the banks give to you if you put $100?
Maybe I get it right now.
97 at the end of, you will have 97 at the end of the year. So why don't we invest in the community? No, if they're trustful and we know each other, let's invest in the community. So what I'm telling you is, why don't we create an investment fund where there are shares? Each share costs $10. So you will have a rendability of 12% of your investment, investing, giving credits to your friends. Very simple. And another thing, the people who are investing here, you can also ask for credits whenever you want of this fund. Okay. So there are two motivations. One is that you're going to have good rendability for your investment, helping your friends. And second, you can ask for a credit whenever you want. We're going to have a monthly meeting where people can buy shares and when you can ask for credits. Right? It's very simple. Who wants to invest in this? Each share costs 10 euros. You can buy $10. You can buy 3, 5, 6. Think about the money you have right now. We can start today. 5? What's your name? Eugenia. How much?
5, please.
5 shares. So that's $50. Okay, who more? The people who are asking for credit, you have to invest some money. Liz, how much?
Oh, I'll do 10.
Theo.
I'll do 10 as well.
Natalie.
20.
More? It's a good investment. What's your name?
Sally.
Sally.
I'll do 30.
Is there any sort of insurance on this fund? If I make a deposit?
It's not with me, it's with your community. I'm not taking your money. I don't want to know anything about your money. I'm just explaining the methodology. Okay? So the methodology is that every month you will have a meeting where people can put the money, you have a box with a key. Someone will take the box, another one will take the key. And that month people can buy shares and people can ask for credits. That's simple. As simple as that. Okay. Is the best insurance that you have here is the pressure of the group. Because if Natalie doesn't pay, we will tell Natalie every day, you have to pay, you have to pay, because it's our money. It's the best insurance. We will talk about how can we make Natalie pay in other ways. Who more wants to invest? What's your name?
Audrey, we'll do 20.
The more you invest, the more money you will have, because each shares cost 10 euros. So at the end of the year, what we're going to do is we're going to sum up all the interest rates. We're going to divide it for the shares, the total shares. So the more shares you have, the more money you will win. Yes. I'm not convincing you. Yes?
I'll do 30.
What's your name?
Claire.
Claire. 30? More? People who are thinking not to invest, why are you're not sure? What makes you that you're not sure? You want to invest?
No, I don't want to make money off of my friends.
But you're also asking for credits probably one day. So, but they give interest rate to you, but they give it to themselves because they are going to earn money from this also. So the interest rate is just a way to motivate people to put money and to balance the offer and the demand. So that you can make it 0% here also. You can do that. Muslim people do that in our groups. But there's probably no incentive to put money. You can do that. You can convince the others to say, let's put 0 interest rate. What's going to happen if you put 0 interest rate? If someone doesn't pay, there's no punishment for not paying. You have to be smarter than thinking that it's only solidarity. It's like we can help our friends making money. That's a very revolutionary way of working. Because then a lot of people will come. Some more people who wanted to invest? Who said you wanted to invest?
Me?
Oh, you?
I'll put in 30. Elisa.
Elisa? 30? Okay, let's stop here for a moment. 60, 70, 90, 20, 40, 70. We're into 100. Normally groups start with this number, 200. But we have, the good thing here is that we have 3 demands. So it's I promise you it's a good investment. It's not very dangerous. It's very difficult that we lose this money. It's very difficult. More investments?
I'm not sure, 30.
What's your name?
Anne?
4 months?
30.
Okay. Last chance to buy shares. you can buy next month if you want. This is just to start. Okay, let's stop it here. So we'll have 230. But we have 3 credits here. What can we do?
See which one wants it the most. Maybe we'll charge them a little more interest.
There's a rule that there are different things we can do. We can say, okay, we only have 230. There's not a lot of money, but a lot of demand. How can we do that? What does economy say?
Price.
Raise the price, raise the interest rate. No, we can do that. That's something we can do because we decided. We are shareholders. Right? So we can decide it. You're also a shareholder. So in a party would say, I want a high interest rate, but in another party would say, I don't want a low interest rate. Because you're customer and shareholder at the same time. That happens all the time. Every month you can change the rules if you want, depending on the needs of the community. There's a rule which I think is very important, and all the groups do, is that there are like 300,000 groups all over the world. So this has been tested for more than 10 years. Another rule we can say is, I think that Liz doesn't trust too much in the community. Or you're not capable of saving too much. But you're asking for a lot of money. And Theo also. So normally what groups do is, why don't we put a rule here that you can only ask for 4 times more? How do you feel about that? Just 4 times more your investment. What's that for? This rule probably is the most important one in the groups. Why is that? Why do we do that?
We want them there over the long term. We don't want them to come in and fail their first loan.
There's one philosophical thing, and there's one very practical thing on that. The philosophy is that the more you trust in the community, the more the community will trust you. So if you're investing in the community will invest in you. So we're creating a trustful circle that let's trust more and more, but you have to trust in the community also. Okay. The other thing is that if Liz has $10 and asks for, if Theo has $10 here and asks for 300, if she doesn't pay, which can happen, there's a risk of 290 here, right? Yes? It's too much. This is a very high risk. But if you have 10 and you ask for 40, you only have 30. Once you have 100, you can ask for 400. Okay. So the more you're saving and investing, the more you can ask for. But we can do another thing if you want. I'm trying to convince you to put money here. The other thing we can do is that if someone knows Theo, someone can be her collateral with the money she has inside, right? So if Theo has 50 and is asking for 200, maybe there are someone in the group who has 50 and another one who has 70. They can be their collaterals in the group. So if she doesn't pay, we will take your shares to the group and your 2 friends' shares. Okay. And why should they be your collateral? What they want to be your collateral. Why?
In case they need collateral later on in the future.
Yes. They will need collateral in the future. They're your friends, but they will also think one day, if I ask for credit, I will think, Theo, do you remember that I was once your collateral? Can you be my collateral now? And you're building trust also in groups. Okay? This is how it works. It's very easy. What's going to happen in July? Natalie is going to pay 52. Theo is going to pay 150. Liz is going to pay 50. So that's 250 and 6.5. This is profit for the community. Net profit for the community. This goes to profit. Okay, for your rentability. And we have $250 again, so we can give more credit. But what's going to happen in July is that people will say, this is a good investment, people are paying. I want to invest more, I want to buy more shares. So that's going to happen that someone new will enter the group, 50, and another one will enter the group with, or someone who's already a shareholder will say, I want to buy 50 more. So we'll have 300. With 300, we can give 3 more credits. So probably at the end of the year, everyone can receive 1 or 2 credits whenever they want, when they have a need. Yes? Any questions?
How do interest rates generally compare to traditional banking done in this community?
It depends completely on the community. It goes from 0% for the Muslim people to 3% per month. It depends. For example, in Venezuela, depending on the country, if the country has a lot of inflation, they will raise very much the interest rate because they don't want to lose money with inflation. But they will change it every 3 or 4 months, depending. If there's a lot of demand, they will raise the interest rate. If there's no demand, they will go down the interest rate. They will keep on changing. It's a financial educational program also.
Can you pull out?
Get out of the group. You sell your shares. In July, you can say, Sally says, I don't like this anymore. I want to get out of here. So she says, okay, I want to take out my $30 with my interest, with my profit to the date.
And also, when they're voting, is voting based on shares, or is it generally just
No? And not because it's a communist system, but it's because it's difficult to vote depending on the shares. It's like, I have 3 votes, I have 6 votes. It's like, but I have never seen any groups voting. Maximum 25 people. So it's small groups of people, and it's no sense in voting. You have to convince the others.
What is the...
It's very difficult that someone gets out of the group. There's no sense in taking out your shares, I think. People think if I have $100 here, 10 shares, why should I take out 10 shares? If I need money, I can get 400. Which is the sense of taking out the money? There's no sense. The only reason would be if there's no trust in the community anymore. That can happen. But it's very difficult that someone fails. In Spain, we had, in 8 years, I think we have 4 cases. So some people, maybe they will not pay in 1 month, but they will next month. Because if not, you will have 20 people telling you every day that you have to pay. It's too hard.
Yeah, well, it's a related question. I was going to ask, what is the default rate?
Yes, no, it's no more than 2%. No, the world.
The initial loan is made by the shareholders, or is there a financial institution that makes the initial loan?
No, that's a very, very big mistake. There's a financial institution. What happens, I will give you an example. And that's why I am a bit against the microfinance movement. No. The big problem we have with the groups in Europe, within 6 countries in Europe, the big problem we have is after 6 months there's too much money in the box. Too much money, because it's a very good investment. And the problem is where to invest. Because some people say, I don't want credit. That's a big problem. So what happens if a financial institution comes in? They say, the problem is not the money. The problem is that the other day was with a bank, Spain, visiting a group. And I told the bank, without the group knowing, I told them, tell the group that you have money, the low interest rate to give to them. They went to the group, and the group said, I'm sorry to tell you that we don't need your money. We don't want your money. Maybe you need a credit. We don't want your money. Well, what happens a lot of times with this paternalistic way? There's a charity in Spain. We created a group of people who were in charity, asking for food and clothes. They started with $200. That happens all the time. It's a starting money. And they give 2 credits to start to learn. This charity said, I like the idea. I would buy 20 shares. And I told them, don't accept this money. Don't accept it. That NGO is the worst shareholder that you can have. Why? Because what's going to happen in 6 months, it's happening in all the groups. There's going to be I mean, this would happen. It happened. After 6 or 7 months, there was $250 in the box, 220. But money was in the box. What happened with this charity? That they never come to the meetings. They never asked for credit. They were not taking decisions, and they were the maximum shareholders. So what happened at the end of the year when they were giving profits to the people? They said, "There's a shareholder that doesn't give. It's only giving money that we don't need." So they tell the charity, "I'm sorry to tell you that you're out of the group. You're out of the group. We want to give you your money back with profit." And the charity said, "No, you can keep the money." And they said, "We don't want your money. We can buy your shares, but please go out." And the charity was like, "What?" That happens all the time. I'm very against that there's external money to the groups, because it's something that the group in the beginning they will accept, but our experience is that after sometimes they will see it as a problem.
Have you seen it happen? So if you're talking about a community of like 25 people, and say maybe 6 or 7 of them work for the same company, and that company, ends up going bankrupt, and they all lose their jobs.
Yes.
What do you see happen to this community bank when you're closely knit economically like that?
Yes, in general it's a good practice that they have earnings from different places. They are not in the same group. We never had this experience, but there were some fishermen in Venezuela. But we told them it's better that in the group you have people who are working in other places.
Yeah. The risk would be too consolidated.
Yeah. There's in Spain, for example, in Madrid, there's a group. They're creating groups in restaurants. People who are working in restaurants. It was a corporate responsibility for the company, but in a way it's a way where people finance themselves when they have some problems. That went bankrupt at the moment, but the situation in Spain can make it. I don't know. Probably what's going to happen there is like it was all our money and we lost the money. Yeah. And people have to understand that this is not safe. It's not a saving program. It's an investment program. So they can lose money. No? Yeah, it can happen. They are shareholders and they have to take decisions. And I think that the philosophy behind all this methodology is that we have business angels here. Business angels.
Angel investors.
What we tell the people is that everyone can be a business angel. Everyone can invest. Everyone can be. A lot of low-income people say, how do rich people make money? And we tell them investing. Investing in the stock market. You should be investors. Let's invest. Is it difficult to invest? No, it's very easy. If you have trust in the community, that's something you have. And that's something I don't like about microfinance programs. It's like, I used to work in Guatemala with a microfinance program, traditional microfinance program. We're giving credit to the people, taking the interest rate from the community, but the decisions, in a way, the filter of the community was done by themselves. The trust was there. So in a way, we were taking out the trust of the community. The benefits of the trust went to us to pay my salary. It's not fair. It's not fair. Yes.
So one of the things that's very important in the U.S. is to have a good credit score. I don't know if it's the same in Spain or Venezuela or other countries. Does this contribute to building credit?
Sure. If someone has received a credit in the group during 5 years and you have a this was the traditional, it's already used. This is the methodology. Now, you have the statutes, where you have the money flow, money in, money out. It's very easy. And here you have the credit of the people. Everyone has one credit. With this information, you know that that person has been paying for the last 5 years. So you can show, we have some agreements with banks in Spain, and we can, if the group agrees in that, they normally do. It's like, this is the credit score of that person. So he's been paying a group with no collaterals. it has the friendship collateral. He's been paying. Imagine that person with the collateral. You know, because if you want to be, if a bank wants to be sure that someone pays, the bank has to take into account two things: that that person wants to pay. There are a lot of rich people who can pay, but doesn't want to pay. No, some people want to pay, but they cannot pay because they have no income. So the credit score here demonstrates that people want to pay and they can pay. Both things. That's an incredible credit score. Not only this, but if you maybe ask for a bigger credit if you're an entrepreneur, you can imagine that the credits given in the groups are for a lot of uses. So if you want to ask for a bigger credit, probably you will have 10 people that can be your collateral, 15 people that can be your collateral because they know you. And they know, in the beginning maybe they didn't trust you very much, but after 5 years, trust you. So you're giving credit score, not only credit score, but giving a group of trust people who can be the collateral. That's a good point.
Are you tracking how they're using the money?
People don't ask that to the people. Would you ask CEO what does she need the money for? You don't care about that. If she pays, she can lie. She can say, no, I think it's because I need to buy some books for what. No. But you don't care about that. People don't ask. Normally when I ask, we have made some impact evaluation, and they say for so many things. They say that, and once they told me, when you go to the bank with your credit card and you ask for money, do they ask you what do you need the money for? It's up to you. It's your money. You have the right to ask for a credit if you want, for any use, because maybe you need it that month. What happens sometimes in some groups we have, for example, we're working with young people who have just went out of prison, and they are very hard in asking that to their friends because they are very afraid about drugs. But they are the ones who are telling them, be careful with this money because you're losing all the trust of them. But it's for a lot of uses. A lot of uses. In Spain, for example, it's typical that in September, after August, that is holidays, in September people have to buy the books of the children for school. That's very common. In December, there are a lot of expenses because of Christmas. I don't know, for so many things. A lot of times, normally it's, I would say, more emergencies. Or people, they say, today's day 25, I have to pay some bills, and I will receive the money in the 5th. There are 10 days that I have to make some payments and I don't have the money. But I will pay it back.
Do you have any kind of insurance for the box of money? What happens if somebody gets the box and takes the money? You lose everything?
There's not a lot of money in the box normally because every month there's a meeting, people buy shares, people pay credits, and we say we have 300 euros this month. So they start understanding that it's not the money has to work.
So you're really talking about only 300 euros?
In the beginning.
Yes.
But then it's 600, but every month they say like, there are more shares, so you can ask for more credits, keeps on growing. But they understand that it's no sense that the money is in the box, because then there's no credibility. So they start thinking what should we invest. So there's when there's starting to be a lot of money, maybe they can open a bank account. That happens. And normally this, we have never had this problem. Never had this, because there's a lot of money, but also there's someone who takes the box and another one takes the key. They just meet in the meeting. But the person is responsible for the box. So if there are $40, they open the box and they say, in the books that we said last month that there should be $36. they open the box. If they're not $36, it's going to be, people will jump on that person. What happened with this money? But normally they start with the box and they jump to a bank account. It's safe.
I know one of the issues with microfinance, and I guess a lot of loans in general, is that people will take out another loan to pay off their original one. And I was wondering, how does this happen here, especially if it's not just to start a business or if it's just to pay for books? There's not necessarily like money coming back immediately. So how would you ever have the issue of people taking out more loans to pay off?
I remember once there was I have the video actually here. It was on TV. There's a group, the president, and the president of the group, that changes every year. His mother was asking for a credit. His mother was asking in the group. And he told the people in the group, in front of her, I think we shouldn't give her the credit, because she has another credit. So what happens in the group is that people know each other, and they know what's happening. And they know that that person has other credits. This is about knowing each other. The best filter is people knowing each other. The bank never knows. The bank doesn't have that information all of them. At the end, the microfinance institutions, a lot of times they don't have the information. They evaluate them. I was working 4 years in a microfinance institution. And when we were evaluating the people, I'm sorry to say that, but we were lying all the time. We were saying that because we were pressured to give credit to the people. That was our business. So we were saying, yes, you can get the money. And we were evaluating not depending on your life, but depending on what you were saying. It can be false. Probably it's going to be false if you really get that credit. So there's a lot of lying there.
I'm curious to know why would somebody not go to the bank to get that number and take it from that box, because it seems the returns are higher over there. They need to pay higher interest from there because of pay to bank.
No, normally it's lower than the bank. If you have banks near you, they will understand that they want to be competitive. So if you have a bank or a money lender very near, they will lower the interest rate depending to the. So the groups that have higher interest rate normally are the poorest groups. Why? Because probably they don't have other places to go. I have a gap. I have a group myself, my friends. I started like 6 years ago. Our interest rate right now is 3% per year. Why? Because now the bank is giving us 6%. So we said if we want to put them to give credit, we have to be lower than the bank. That was a big discussion. But people, if they are investors, they have to think how to invest the money in a better way than their company. Did I explain myself?
Yeah.
Can you comment a little bit about how to go implement this? Because you're transforming community people into investors, into shareholders, and that has a governance, self-governance system that requires some, I think, mindset shift also, right? So how do you implement that? How do you make it happen?
How do groups start?
Yes, and what kind of capabilities you have to build, right, in this kind of
we have gone through different phases. And thank you for the question, because you told me that we should talk about a little bit about the future, and that keeps pointing to the future. We started going community to community with the methodology, like trying to convince the people to do it. It was very hard. So phase one was convincing leaders in the community. Though there's something called Tontin. Have you heard? Roscas, Tontin? Popular system where people help each other. So we tell all those Tontins, those were our targets. It's full of Tontins here in the US. Migrant communities do that all the time. They put money every month, make a lottery. So we told, those were our targets, telling them there's a system which is better than Tontins. It's more flexible, which you can earn money. And but we were trying to convince the people. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, they started the word to mouth. And people started coming to us telling us that they want to create. And not only this, but for example, I was in Sevilla, in a city in Spain, making a conference, and someone said, I want to create a group with my friends. And I said, that would be great because probably it's going to be the first group in Sevilla. And someone in the audience says, no, I have another group. No, I was like, I didn't know that. And it's getting word to mouth, which is a great thing from one point of view, but on the other side, we would like to know what's happening. Yes. So phase 2, which has been more relaxing, is word to mouth, or people coming to us to tell us or phoning us to create a group. And we have made, the methodology was like this in the beginning. And now it's 4 pages. So what we're in phase 3 right now. We are creating something called Green Common. It's a platform, a digital platform with 3 parts that we want to make it more exponential. And it's an e-learning tool. So it's like do it yourself, create your CAF. So it's, in 3 steps you can create your group. Like it's a kind of game like I explained it to you today, with frequent questions, with other people talking about this. This is a learning tool. It's going to be in English probably at the end of this year. In English, French, and Spanish. And a management tool. Where people can make the follow-up of the groups. So it's going to calculate the profits of the group. You can make the follow-up. The credits, it's going to be in red if you don't pay. You can have in your cell phone, knowing how much money do you have, what are your collateral, all the information. And also a social network. What's happening more and more in the groups is that they get bored about the group after 2 years. It's like every month we're meeting credits, and there's a lot of money. So they start thinking there are some more things we can do. But they understand that there are some things they can do that can be brought to scale. And that means, for example, we have just created through the network of the groups an investment fund. The problem was with entrepreneurs in the groups. Why? Because maybe a group has 6,000 euros and dollars, no? But there's an entrepreneur, and they normally give credit of 1,000, 100, 500. And there's an entrepreneur who needs 5,000 with risk, because entrepreneurship is risky, you know that. But some groups said, okay, we have some entrepreneurs in the group. This is too risky for the credit because this is very safe. The credit part is very safe. Why don't we create a real investment fund, which is $100 instead of each share, to give credit for risk matters with a higher interest rate. And this was created by the groups. So all the groups have created this fund to give credit to the people in the groups who, so that the credit score, they said, why should we give the credit score to the banks? We can do it ourselves. We really believe in the credit score that the groups have. So let's keep on investing on people.
But you're to get an apartment, to rent an apartment?
No, it's still too early for apartments.
No, not even to buy one, but if I want to rent an apartment, the owner, the apartment building, or the landlord, needs to see my credit score to know that I'm safe.
Okay. So we're creating this platform so that people can say, okay, I want to create I'm visiting I'm going to New York and to San Francisco. There are some people, some groups there that say, we want to create a a group, and I told them I cannot come to explain it to you. I'm not promote. No, so you can do it through internet.
Yeah.
So we're building this.
Do you know at all how the relationships among the people in the group changes outside of just this? I mean, do they trust each other more? Do they do things afterwards?
One impact evaluation we did, they said that 60% of the members of the group said that it's the only trustful network they have. But they have also fired some people in the groups, which is very hard. Because if someone is very conflict, or someone is, I don't know, that person loses all the trust in the community. So it's very hard if you fail in the community. But it's building, it's trust building completely. And I think I'm really not worried about money. I think it's boring. I don't know. But I think money is a very good tool to build trust. So money can destroy trust, but it can build trust. But if someone returns a credit or returns a book, if you lend someone a book and that person returns the book to you, you will say, this is a trustful person. Imagine with money. So you're building trust, more and more trust in the communities. And after that, they start saying, if we have trust, if we have structure in our community, we have meetings, we have money, there's so many things we can do together. I was in the University of California, and some students in the audience said, this is the new Facebook. They were saying, I'm a bit scared. But this is a new Facebook, because in Facebook there's no trust necessarily. Imagine that you're building communities with trust. So many things. For example, I will give you an example. The groups are inventing all the time. We're normally behind the groups in design. We're just learning from them because there are so many groups that are doing things. One thing they design, which sounds very simple, very stupid, but I think it's very smart, and other groups are copying that, is that they discovered that there were some things that were really a very big emergency, which were not credit, like an insurance. And for example, if your children get very ill, or if you die, so what they do is that they say, okay, we have 30 people in the group. Let's put $50 each every year. They call it the insurance fund. It's not the credit fund, but the insurance fund. That's $1,500 a year. Okay? They say to the members of the group, would you put $50 in the fund, in the insurance fund, and in the case something happens to you, you will receive 10 times more? So what we did here, what they did is that they discovered that every year in the group of 30 there were 2 big emergencies. So that's an insurance company. It's about calculating risk. So they said, okay, they designed all this. It's incredible. It's an insurance company. So they give 10 times more in case you have an emergency. Okay? And people say, that's great, because if I have an emergency, I will receive 500. But someone said, it's incredible. I have been paying an insurance to a company for 10 years. Nothing happened to me, and they never returned the money to me. No. Why is that? They are making money of calculating in their interest. So what happens here is that if it really happens that there are 2 problems in the community, they get a profit of 500. So they're an insurance company. So they created a bank and they created an insurance company here. Right? And at the end of the year, they say, okay, let's give the profit of the bank. Okay, now let's give the profit of the insurance company. You know? And they divide 500 divided per 30. So that's the benefit they have. So The other day I was in a conference with a leader in the community. And someone said, what do you do for a living? And she said, during the week, I clean houses. And on the weekends, I'm a shareholder of a bank and an insurance company. And it's true. And they say, from the first year, we've been making profit. But it's difficult to have partners and other shareholders. No, we have 20 shareholders, and we have profit. And do you fight very much? Yes, we normally fight, but at the end of the year, we have profit. Yes?
Can you just tell a little bit about how you started, why immigrants in the beginning? I can see why it has evolved and where you are right now, but the target of the immigrants in the beginning, how?
They were the only ones who were listening to me. Spanish people were like, I don't want to mix friends and money. Maybe it's what you were thinking now. Mixing friends and money, it's a bit dangerous. But migrant people are used to this. They normally do these kind of things. No? So it's, and in the beginning, Ashoka was saying, this is because you really believe in migrant communities. I was, no, they were the only ones. I would like to do it with whoever wants to do it. No? And now it's with young people, it's with students in schools are doing it. There are women who had gender violence. But migrant community, what I say is, a lot of times, is migrant communities were showing us that you can do it. Is the difference. I remember once, it was interesting. When in the beginning, when we were doing door-to-door promotion, people were not busy. But some migrant communities started and said, this is not very different from what we're doing right now.
Good afternoon, Ashoka. Just a reminder to all interns and all accountability partners and anyone else interested, the intern orientation will be starting in, 5 minutes on the ground floor next to the elevators. That's the ground floor next to the elevators. Thank you.
This is a sign now, no? Just something that happened in a group. There were one group of Latin people, mainly, different countries but Latin people. And there was I was in the meeting with them, and there was a Spanish guy who entered the group. Knocked at the door and said, hello, I heard that there are migrant people here who give credits. And they were, yes, who are you? He was 65 years old. It was winter, and he had a problem with the heating. And she needed to repair the heating, and that person needed 50 euros, like $50 more or less. So they told him, okay, you can be part of the group, but please introduce yourself. And does anyone know this man? And someone said, I know this man from the bar. He's always in the bar, but he's not drinking alcohol, he's drinking a coffee. He's very kind. And he has some, and he said, this man said, I have some earnings. So he bought a share of 10. He could ask for 50. When he was leaving the group, he said, no one has ever trusted me, and it was the migrant people who were trusting me. No? And there was a girl from the Dominican Republic, if I remember, she said, maybe the Spanish government should pay us to integrate the Spanish people. So it's the other way around. Migrant people were the ones who were showing us the way. Probably it's going to happen in the States.
Yeah.
Maybe migrants are going to start, and then when you see that migrants are doing it, it's not that difficult, the American people will start. That's what happened.
Well, with that, I think we better wrap up. Thank you so much.
No more. You need to know Spanish because it's in Spanish, but it's comunidades autofinanciadas, so self-funded autofinanciadas, so self-financed communities, but probably we will launch the Win Common We will start in July till 19th, and in December we'll be finished. Okay?
Thank you very much, and thank you, friends from People DC. Let's you all. Thank you so much for coming.
No,